Tonight, a sad day for a school community as students and staff remember slain teacher Steph Scott. Her family considers moving after a frightening confrontation at a disputed laneway. A grand day for Nan's pops and their little ones in a celebration of grandparents.
And a cool change is set to drop temperatures by up to 10 degrees. When will it hit? Details coming up.
This is PRIME7 News at 6 with Freya Cole.
Good evening. Students and teachers at Leeton have paused today to remember the life of teacher and bride-to-be Stephanie Scott a year after her life was cut tragically short. While the pain is still raw, those touched closest by her have promised they'll honour her memory.
They're the last Leeton High student Stephanie Scott taught, and today they honoured the memory of the much-loved drama teacher who was killed just a week before her wedding.
She was someone that everyone looked up to. She made the school happy with a smile because she was such a great teacher.
The school put on extra counsellors in the lead up to the anniversary, with many students still affected by the heartbreaking loss.
The shock still comes and goes, you sort of, when you're 16, you're going through school, you don't expect that you're going to lose one of your teachers in the fashion that we did.
While the community is still coming to terms with the shocking events of last year, they've taken steps to ensure the popular Leeton High School teacher's legacy will live on. A new amphitheatre will serve as a permanent reminder of the young woman described as a born teacher, dedicated to her students.
The amphitheatre sums that up. It's got the fun, education merged into one, and it's a very amazing structure, very permanent reminder as well.
This year's HSC drama class has vowed to honour her memory by putting on the inaugural performance at the amphitheatre, which is due to be finished soon, supporting each other by learning together just the way their teacher would have wanted them to. Tom Major, PRIME7 News.
A trial continues for a West Wyalong woman accused of stabbing her husband to death after the Crown rejected her manslaughter plea. 50-year-old Marianne Parker was charged with murdering her husband Kenneth Parker in their Monash Street home in 2013. Ms Parker pleaded guilty to manslaughter, but it was thrown out and the murder trial pressed on. The trial's been set down for 15 days. A father of three is considering leaving his Glenfield Park home after allegedly being attacked by a gang of teenagers. The man, who did not wish to be identified, believes nearby laneways are making his family vulnerable.
Still in school uniform, this was anything but an afternoon stroll. CCTV shows these four girls stopping to inspect a closed laneway off Ndara Road. Confronted by the neighbouring resident, they go to leave when one of the girls throws something towards the front door. They run away around the corner and moments later the man gives chase.
I actually caught up to one of the girls. She actually grabbed a branch, 7 foot long, really thick, and swung it at me like a baseball bat and sort of got my back a bit and then ran off.
PRIME7's been told the girl threw 2 stolen garden lights. One scratched the back of the family car, the other shattered on the veranda. In December, the same camera caught Grinches stealing Christmas lights from the family's front yard. Council spent more than $1 million locking down dangerous laneways like this to try protect residents in Glenfield Park and Tolland, but those that live here say they're still vulnerable. This is like the second time in a matter of months, so we actually are starting to get a little bit concerned, have we made the right move to live where we are.
The downturn in crime associated to a number of other issues, not just the blockages of laneways. There's been a lot of hard work in respect to the local police with Operation Assure, which has been running 24/7 now for over 6 weeks.
Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. Mark Santomartino, PRIME7 News.
Backlash over the treatment of animals at Wagga's pound is growing, with 35,000 people signing a petition to improve welfare at the shelter. The council has made changes following shocking allegations about live cats being left in a freezer and animals vanishing from council records. Social media has been flooded with allegations of other disturbing experiences at the pound. Coringal resident Lishi Troth's cat, Sooty, went missing from her yard late last year, and she says she was shocked at the state she found her cat in 2 days later.
In a dirty, filthy cage. She was matted and her eyes were glued shut from an eye infection. She was laying in her own faeces, and the guy said to me that she was to be put down 10 minutes after I arrived. 2 days later, I took her to Morong Vet, and after that I had to get it put down because of the severity of the eye infection.
The council has called an independent review of the pound's operations. A Wagga arthritis sufferer is calling for a cut to the price of supplements to treat chronic conditions. The call comes as the cost of dozens of common medications drops by up to 60% this week.
Lorraine Thomas takes 9 magnesium tablets daily. She believes it helps ease the progression of her arthritis. But at almost $40 for a bottle of 250 tablets, it cuts deeply into her weekly pension.
They were prescribed for me by a specialist, so, the fact that I can't get them on a script is quite concerning.
Supplements have been flying off pharmacy shelves in the past few years, promising to help manage a range of common conditions. While many doctors recommend them, GP Philip Knowles doesn't think subsidising them is viable.
Or continue to subsidise paracetamol and then added in other things that are just as useful like magnesium or fish oil, then the cost to the PBS and to the taxpayer would be far too high.
Under planned savings for taxpayers, cholesterol drug Crestor has dropped by $3 to $25 a box. Osteoarthritis tablet Celebrex is down 25%, and certain antidepressants have dropped by $6. Federal Health Minister Susan Ley says the family budget could be reduced by as much as $500 for people with multiple conditions. But Ms Thomas says for the average arthritis sufferer, it won't make much of a difference.
People with severe arthritis would probably find that their medications may cost less, but I'm not sure how many pensioners that are on medications don't get them at the reduced cost.
Priscilla Mocker, PRIME7 News.
The member for Riverina, Michael McCormack, has brushed off the latest news poll, insisting the government is more worried about getting on with the job. Labor has taken the lead 51 to 49 in two-party terms, the first time since under Malcolm Turnbull. It follows a backlash over the Prime Minister's proposed income tax.
There might be a few dips and troughs and glitches along the way. Essentially, we are there to govern for 3 years. And not just to worry about an opinion poll or worry about a headline in a newspaper.
His local opposition says the figures show the Liberal Nationals are out of touch.
We've just had the biggest release of information about tax avoidance, and we've got a government sitting in there in Canberra whose only idea that they can come up with is to give tax breaks to corporations and the mega rich. I mean, what do they expect the Australian people to think of that?
An election could be held as early as July. Doctors plan to run the first rural health survey in 9 years to assess regional medical needs ahead of the federal election. A wish list for health priorities will come out of the survey, with doctors saying better coordination between GPs and specialist medical staff is crucial to improving outcomes.
Something which would really help coordinate care between a general practitioner and all the other people that people come up against when they go to casualty or when they've been in hospital.
The AMA last ran the survey in 2007. Over to Maddie now for a check of the weather. Maddie, it'll be our first real hit of cold weather this year.
Yeah, that's right. We are expecting to see a cool change sweeping across New South Wales as we head through Thursday and Friday. But today, we've seen those much warmer winds blowing in from the north, leaving temperatures well above average for this time of year. Let's zoom in now and take a look at what did happen with those temperatures today. And with a top of 33 degrees in Wagga, that's 10 degrees above average for April. 32 in Junee, Adelong 30, Talbingo 32, and Narandra made it to 34. West Wyalong a top temp of 34 degrees as well. So really quite warm thanks to those northerly winds blowing in, but we will see that cool change as we head into Thursday and Friday. Wangala Dam today is at 41%. Can we expect any rain with that cool change to top up these dams? I'll let you know right after sport.
Thank you, Maddie. Coming up, Tony Abbott and his peddling Pollies roll into Temora, and a fun day out for Nans, Pops and little ones.
And at 6:30, 7 months since he took over the top job, the numbers are tightening for Malcolm Turnbull. A Sydney man expected to be charged over a shocking attack on his wife, and Grant Hackett gets some help from a fellow champion ahead of our Olympic trials. All those stories and the day's national news next. Join us at 6:30 tonight.
We could see rail lines that have been closed for years reopening across New South Wales. Our $15 million pilot program is getting underway. It's designed to improve freight in and out of regional areas.
This Fixing Country Rail is all targeted at improving or reopening rail lines to actually get our most productive areas even more productive and more efficient in terms of transporting their commodities out of our region and to port.
The pilot program is aimed at determining how to best approach a planned $400 million rail initiative. You could end up having to pay a tax to live in your home. The business chamber and welfare group NCOS have teamed up to call on the government to scrap stamp duty in favour of a new land tax. They say it will create new jobs and make homes more affordable, but the Treasurer isn't convinced.
What has a business lobby group, a union and a social service body have in common? They want homeowners living in New South Wales to start paying land tax.
The economy in New South Wales and the people of New South Wales would be better off if we got rid of stamp duty that is paid every time you buy a house and replace that with a broad-based land tax.
The New South Wales Business Chamber, NCOS and the AMWU believe a land tax works better for everyone.
We know that the stamp duty has been pushing the price of properties up. We also know that it pushes rents up.
They argue replacing stamp duty with a land tax would create an extra $5 billion in economic activity and create 10,000 new jobs.
You may have somebody who's in Sydney, they'd like to relocate their family to a regional location. That would be good for the region, particularly if they're business people. They might want to go and set their business up. But they face the prospect of having to not only pay stamp duty, of course, on the residence that they buy in regional New South Wales, but also wherever they set up their business, they pay stamp duty as well.
But the New South Wales Treasurer isn't convinced introducing a new land tax is the way to go. Gladys Berejiklian says the move would be unpopular with a lot of homeowners.
Well, obviously what this means is people who currently don't pay stamp duty because they're not buying new property will have to pay tax every year. And that is obviously something a lot of people in regional New South Wales might be concerned with.
The revenue raised from stamp duty was the primary reason the New South Wales government recorded a $2.1 billion surplus last year. Kathleen Curry, PRIME7 News.
Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's poured cold water on any suggestion he'll reappoint Tony Abbott to Cabinet as the former PM tours our region for the annual Pollie Pedal. It was a hard day's work for the Pollies as they completed the Cootamundra to West Wyalong leg. It's day 3 of their 1,000-kilometre ride to raise money for carers in Australia. There's still a fair way to go. The group will head to Forbes tomorrow. A demand for cute dogs is causing a spike in the number of pets with serious health problems. Vets have warned a growing popularity of flat nose breeds like pugs and bulldogs has led to more surgeries and lower life expectancies.
Meet Dave. He's the kind of dog that would melt even the hardest of hearts. A squashed-faced pug with plenty of love to share. Dave and his bulldog friend Peaches both suffer from breathing difficulties because of their flat noses and tiny nostrils. Dave has had to undergo numerous operations since birth.
He's obviously got a lot of character and he's very full on, but we have, within the first 2 years of his life, we had a lot of upsets and troubles in regards to his breed.
A new report from the University of Sydney shows a big increase in demand for dogs with short, wide heads, such as pugs and French and British bulldogs. They're known as brachycephalic breeds, and while they look adorable, they're prone to serious health complications.
We've seen a few cases in the last couple of years that have got into the trouble of overheating and going blue during summer simply because they can't pant effectively enough to keep themselves cool. So it can be life-threatening.
Sarah says she doesn't regret getting Dave despite his complications, but she has some advice for animal lovers looking to get a small dog.
Next time I'd research it more and making sure it's not as strong in the bloodlines.
Bridget Rollison, PRIME7 News.
Grandparents were today invited to a special play session with their little grandchildren. Wagga's family daycare service gave Nan and Pops a chance to join the youngsters for morning tea.
Whether it was colouring in, playing on the jungle gym or having a picnic, grandparents were happy to be spending the morning with their little loved ones. Wagga's family daycare group invited Nans and Pops for Grandparents' Day as part of Seniors Week.
I started family daycare 33 years ago, and yes, I've been doing it. I raised all my children doing it, and now I'm helping raise my grandchildren doing it. So it's a wonderful profession, yes.
More than ever, grandparents are taking the opportunity to look after their own grandchildren and other littlies with their own family daycare service.
The grandparents play an integral role in the children's life, and our educators are also grandparents themselves, so they're looking after their own grandchildren as part of their education and care service.
Seniors Week runs for the rest of the week with plenty of activities in Wagga. Caitlin Dugan, PRIME7 News.
Still to come, big changes, a blessing in disguise, and young soccer stars play off for Cup glory. There have been some big changes in Griffith's RFL team this season. New coach Adrian Pavizzi's had to adjust the playing style altogether, but it could work to the Swans' advantage.
Griffith finished in 7th spot last season. All faith's been put into their new coach to turn that around, but he's already facing a challenge with his lineup. The Swans' turnovers left the side a bit short.
Yeah, lost all our tools and picked up a heap of small, so it's really thrown a spanner in the works in regards to our game plan, but we feel we've got the balance right, and whilst it was disappointing we lost those players, it presents opportunities for all our younger players to come in and forge their own careers.
Their new running style has been adopted well by existing players. The Swans haven't been able to secure many pre-season bouts, so it's down to round 1 to test it out. 2 men who are used to using their pace have joined the side and are set to make a big impact.
Geordie Utica and Alex Bircher are 2 guys who have come down from Canberra this year, from Ainsley. They're going to be very, very strong for us, I believe. We've received Guy Orton back as well, so 2-time league best and fairest, so that's a pretty handy pickup for us as well. But we're really excited with some of the younger kids coming through. And
Griffith still have 3 weeks to wait for their first match. The RFL starts next weekend, but they've got the bye. The Swans are trying to secure a trial match between now and then. Lauren Markham, PRIME7 News.
Wagga's State League soccer side has triumphed in their opening weekend doubleheader. As it stands, they're top of the ladder, but there's plenty still to do for the reshaped side.
It was a physical matchup between Wagga and Prospect. A short lapse nearly cost them the 3 points, but the Wanderers got away with a win.
Overall, maybe about 65 minutes, and then we had a lapse of about 25 minutes. We were up 3-0. Conceded 3 quick goals, and extremely pleased to see the boys come back from that and put the game to bed.
Their FFA Cup match was very different. They were only on their game for 30 minutes, and that was in the second half. Their first 65 minutes was lacklustre, but the coach was expecting the slow start.
Yeah, to back up less than 24 hours against a team that was fresh. They didn't play that weekend, so that was their first game for the weekend. Look, it was pleasing to get away with the result. I didn't have much to say to the boys at the end of the game on that one.
Douglas puts it down to match fitness. They'll have a few weeks rest before their next FFA Cup match. In State League, they meet Camden Tigers at home on Saturday. Lauren Markham, PRIME7 News.
Wagga students took part in a nationwide soccer tournament at Rawling Park today. Both boys and girls teams from our local high schools played off the Bill Turner Cup. Our schools were among 400 high schools from across the country playing today. The Bill Turner Cup was on offer for the boys. The girls were chasing the Bill Turner Trophy. Teams that were knocked out early played friendly matches, so no one had to sit out during the day. And that's all in sport for now. A change is in the weather at last. We'll have the latest forecast in just a moment.
Hello once again, Madeleine Culling-Young with you. Lovely to see you as always. It was really quite warm across our region today. In fact, in Wagga it was 10 degrees warmer than average, and it's all thanks to that warm northerly breeze that was blowing in today ahead of this trough and front that's going to make its way into our region as we head into Thursday and Friday. Now, behind that system, we're going to see those much cooler winds blowing through from the southwest. So temperatures on Thursday and Friday are going to be up to 10 or even 11 degrees cooler than what we had today. Let's take a look now at the forecast for tomorrow, and another warm day is expected, although not quite as warm as what we had today in Wagga. 31 in Narrandera, 32 in Griffith and 34 degrees in West Wyalong. There is a slim chance that we could see the odd scattered shower about tomorrow afternoon, but don't get too excited about that. If we do see any rain at all tomorrow, it's not likely to be more than a couple of millimetres. Heading into Thursday now, and on Thursday, well, it's going to be much cooler. In fact, with a top temp of 22 degrees in Wagga, that is a slight little bit cooler than average for this time of year. Cootamundra 22, Grenfell 23 and West Wyalong 23 degrees. Heading into Friday, much the same story. We should see mostly fine conditions, those cooler tops sticking around, 22 in Wagga, and we're going to start to see some cooler overnight lows as well, dropping down to 6 overnight in Young. Sunrise tomorrow morning is at 6:24, and now onto the forecast for the weekend. Saturday should be fine. We could see the odd scattered shower on Sunday, should be mostly fine, but look at this top temperature on Monday for Wagga, just 16 degrees, so it is going to be much cooler over the next week.
It sure is. Thank you, Maddie. And that is the local news for now, but you can join the debate on Facebook and see tonight's bulletin online at YouTube. See you all tomorrow, but now Prime 7 News at 6:30 with Daniel Gibson.